Today, welcome to another episode of Raw Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Please be patient with me, people. I am working on a union campaign with some airport workers trying to fight for their rights. And soon I'm going to have one of my comrades come on and talk about socialism. And I'm going to have somebody from the African Socialism Party also to come on the show. And some people from the Black Panther Party to come on the show. But today I'm going to talk about some election strategy, election polling, and where your head need to be when it comes to voting in 2020. Now, they say this is the most important election in our entire lifetime, but they said that last time. All right? And they're trying to drum up this fear to get you to get to the polls, to motivate you to go to the polls, including Trump. Now, I'm going to deal with Trump, racism, Trump supporters and racism, and their lack of understanding of what racism is all about, what white supremacy is all about. I've never seen so many idiotic people in their idiotic thinking when it comes to racism and white supremacy. We're going to go into that in detail. Now, I'm not the foremost expert, but I have some knowledge and some wisdom on it. And I'm going to deal with that soon. I'm going to talk about racism in the Democratic Party. I'm going to talk about racism in the Republican Party. I'm going to talk about Trump base being racist, because a lot of them don't think they're racist. I'm going to talk about the Democratic base being racist. I'm going to talk about Trump being racist. But that's another story. I wanted to get into the coming election. Now, I'm talking with one of my homeboys, and he basically said, man, out of all the candidates running, I really don't think Bernie Sanders have the ability to get no more than what his base has now. What he failed to understand, and I'm always going to bring you the truth, whether I like it or not, you like it or not, or anybody else like it or not, I'm going to tell you. And you ain't going to like this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Bernie Sanders got over 1 million volunteers. No Democratic Party has that type of volunteer base. The numbers of donors that he have on lockdown is huge. He don't need to get corporate money like Kamala Harris, who claimed that they're not going to get any. Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, Elizabeth Warren said, I'm going to take all the money I can get if I win the general election. Well, don't worry about it. You're not going to win the general election. I can go on and on. Marianne Williamson, I can go on and on and on. Of people who saying they're not going to do stuff and they do it anyway. They don't have 1 million volunteers. They don't have a donor base, small donors, a huge donor base. Right now, that has hundreds of thousands paying on a monthly basis. Right out of their credit card every month. Easy, free. And they love it. They're proud of it. Even Obama didn't have that. So you're looking at a man got 1 million people on the ground. You got a donor base that's beyond imagination. Where money is just coming in. His money is long throughout this election and probably after this election. The only person got something like that is Donald Trump. So how you think in the world that you think that these other Democratic runners, front, back, left, or right, it doesn't matter, can keep up with Donald Trump and his money base? The only person that can keep up with that money base is Bernie Sanders. Now I'm going to get into something serious because I want you to see some things about running in this election. Now I will reiterate to you that in the primaries for the Democratic Party, the voting bloc that always get them over, always cause them to win or barely lose, is Democrat, is blacks. Whether it's ADOS, whether it's immigrant blacks or whatever, they always get the Democratic Party over. Yet the Democratic Party hasn't gotten us over. And this ain't one of those elections where we just got to get Trump out of office. No. We making demands. We're using our votes as a bargaining chip, and it should always be that. If Bernie Sanders never taught you anything, he said your vote is a bargaining chip. You use it to make a demand, or if they don't want to meet your demand, you use it to get somebody out of office who will make your demand. And we should be doing the same thing in the black base when it comes to electing politicians. Because again, who gets the Democratic denomination? It's the black voting base. It's not the LGBT community, because it's growing, but it's not as big as the black base. It's not Latinos. It's beginning to grow, but a lot of Latinos are on the Republican side. It's still the black base. And either we gonna get you over hump in a huge margin, barely get you over. And one of the reasons that will barely, the only reason why blacks will not get a person barely over is because they start to kiss up and become corporate politicians, and black people are not going to be dealing with corporate politicians anymore either, just like progressives don't deal with corporate politicians. Or we barely getting you over the hump, or we barely losing. But without the black base, the Democratic Party has no chance of winning the general election. And whoever running in the primaries have no chance of winning the nomination without the black vote. I don't care if it's Bernie Sanders, I don't care if it's Kamala Harris, I don't care if Buttigieg or whatever. That black vote is important. And even though Bernie Sanders has a huge multicultural base, he has an American base, all colors. Do you understand that if no individual, if you blow off the demands of black America, especially American descendants of slaves, or what you call foundational black Americans, you're not going to win a nomination. Just watch the debates. Bernie Sanders keep going back to this Clyburn 10-20-30 rule. He supports that, or he supports the resolution to study. Bernie Sanders is going to start bleeding black votes if he keep going that direction. Yet over here, Marianne Williamson, whether you like it or not up here, I'm here to let you know. And you can't stop this, and you know who I'm talking about. You can say all you want, well, she have no chance of winning. She may not have a chance of winning, but you're not going to stop the black base from supporting her if she decides to support reparations, if she decides to get a black agenda. Because right now, all the rest of them have a chance to get one, and all of them has a chance to outdo one another, just like they trying to outdo one another with Medicare for all, just like they're trying to outdo each other with no-cost education or low-cost education. They need to be doing the same thing for us in a black agenda and for us representatives. They need to be outdoing one another if you want to get that black vote. Student vote is not enough. You going out there trying to get the student vote. You trying to go out there and get the unhealthy and sick vote? That ain't happening with your policies. Great policies, great. Cancel student debt, great. Affordable housing program, or go back to building low cost, nice public housing, great. Getting rid of homelessness, great. But that ain't enough. Until you get a black agenda, you're going to lose black support. You're going to start bleeding, and bleeding quick. You only got so many more debates to state your case. You better come up with some kind of plan to blow out your opponents when it comes to a black agenda if you plan you don't get the black vote. Don't you dare think that the blacks always going to support you no matter what, because we fear Trump. Black people ain't fearing Trump. We've been dealing with Trump all our lives in America, especially descendants of American slaves. We've been dealing with these Trump numbnuts all our life. And it's the racist political leaders. They don't shake me more than the low-key, undercover, stealthy, racist politician like Joe Biden, like Kamala Harris. Yeah, I call her racist because she used white supremacy policies to make a name for herself. You don't think black people can't be a racist? Or Asian can be a racist? Or a Muslim can be a racist? Get out of here. Now I'm going to show you something. This is important because I got to wake some of you up. Because right now, Bernie Sanders is the strongest candidate to win the general election, second to Trump. There's no other Democrat has that chance right now. I'm talking about the general. But I'm going to focus on the primaries right now. Again, right now, in the last election, Bernie Sanders had won 23 states and Hillary Clinton won 26. He went from behind the polls, almost a no-name, people not giving him a shot, saying he don't have a chance, just like them fools said that about Trump. They laughed and mocked on what's his name show, George Stephanopoulos, when Keith Ellison said, you better stop sleeping on this guy because this guy might be the Republican nominee, and you dumb none that sat there and laughed like a fool.
All I want to say is that anybody from the Democratic side of the fence who thinks that, who's terrified of the possibility of President Trump, better vote, better get active, better get involved, because this man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
Next, I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on to Matthew Dowd.
Sorry to laugh.
Next week,
you know, George, we had Jesse Ventura in Minnesota win the governorship. Nobody thought he was going to win. I'm telling you, stranger things have happened.
Well, and also, George,
my mom always told me, well, you got to fight like you're losing. And don't you dare underestimate your opponent, how dumb you think they are, because that could be part of the plan to have you think they dumb. Now, Bernie Sanders won 23 states. That Hillary Clinton won 26, I believe, in the general. Bernie Sanders had a chance to get more superdelegates if the superdelegates played by the rule that was in the book, the DNC bylaws. The rule is supposed to say, even though you are a superdelegate and you have free will, you're supposed to represent the will of your people, not the will of yourself. But those dumb, ignorant idiots decide to not give Bernie Sanders the states that he won, the delegate count. Oftentimes, she would lose the state and she would get half, if not more, delegate counts than he did. That is rigging, that is cheating. Then you got people in the local level rigging the doggone primaries, rigging the election. Kind of like what they're doing in Queens right now. You got all kind of optics that went against Bernie Sanders. And I was for Bernie Sanders. I mean, I was gung-ho. One of the things that made me sour on Bernie Sanders is not the fact that he supported that that crime bill and the lame excuse to me in my book that he had for supporting it. It's for the simple fact that they cheated him and he would not step up for his supporters and go after the Democratic Party, say, since you broken our violation, since you broken our agreement, you violated our agreement, I have no choice but to run the independent, and we would have had him as this nominee in the general than Trump. Why? Because Bernie would have took some of those Trump voters, and Bernie definitely would have took half of the Democratic voters. And as long as he got half the Democratic voters and a lot of independent voters, and even some Republicans were willing to vote for Bernie Sanders, 13 million people left the Democratic Party after that convention. And they were ready to do whatever Bernie Sanders needed them to do. They was ready for a real revolution, and he decided to wave in the towel and support the enemy, even campaigned for her. After he exposed her for the crook that she is, he said, I'm going to go out there and support the crook. So you can't blame him for not going out there and campaign for Hillary, because he did with sweat on his brow. And I'm sick and tired of him. Bad enough he's going up. Joe Biden is my friend. Man, the moment, every time you say that, that's an insult to black people. Joe Biden, your friend. The man who decimated the black community with one policy that you supported for whatever goddamn reason that you got. Now, maybe serious to some of you women. Maybe serious to some of you gun voters. But that wasn't that many. What he could have did for women's rights, he could have did it on the state level. He didn't have to go national with this thing and get this horrible bill signed. So he was winning the delegate counts, but the delegates were supporting Hillary Clinton. The system was so rigged that he won a state and all the she would win half the delegates when it should have been winner takes all, like in the Republican Party. Because Trump was taking all. There wasn't no share of the delegates. He was taking them all. And after all said and done, when the 23 states had about 47% of the Democratic support, in the polls, they showed him stumping Trump left and right. Instead of the superdelegates doing what they were supposed to do, doing what they did with Obama against Hillary Clinton in 2008, going to support Bernie, they decided to support her. And WikiLeaks exposed Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the rest of these crooks for rigging up the election. He still caved in. He killed the revolution. He took momentum. The revolution, what we got now for us, the Bernie Sanders movement, is nowhere near the Bernie Sanders movement in 2016. The momentum is gone, and it's kind of hard to pick it up because he don't have support like he used to. He still got a growing base, don't get me wrong. And the man got a money machine, and he got a organizer machine that's like no other. That's just the truth. But it's not like it was in 2016. Now, a lot of those Democrats did not go to the back to the Democratic Party because they were supporters of Bernie Sanders, and they know that he was cheated. And they're not going to be supporting cheaters. What fool would support a cheater? Ladies, if your man go out there and cheat on you over and over and over again with some woman, what you going to do? Well, some of you like pain. You're masochists. You like heartbreaking pain, and you ain't gonna get that man up for nothing, and he done slept around with 30 women, and he keep coming home to you. Real women who ain't gonna put up with that mess, take your stuff and get your butt out of here. You can go stay with one of your girlfriends, but you ain't staying here. Or if she's living with him, I'm out. I deserve better. And that's the same thing happened in 2016. The people who got the people who came into the Democratic Party, and that was a lot of them, Democratic Party base wasn't as strong until Bernie Sanders was successful, sheepdogging everybody, including me, into the party to support his campaign. Because I was independent. Ain't no way I would have joined the Democratic Party if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders. One of my mistakes. Because I showed, after I saw from day one, the crookedness that was going on, this conning and scheming in the Democratic Party, and then come to find out from Donna Brazile, this thing was all set up by Hillary Clinton because she loaned them money, basically got them out of debt, and began to pimp the whole party. Ain't no way I or any other person who came out of that, came from independent to actually join the party, was going to stay in the party. And they wonder why they lost. You lost because you cheated 13 million people out of their nomination. You would have won if you wouldn't have cheated the man and you would have did things right by the book. And then he was already defeating Trump at just about every poll that you can think of. She wasn't. And we'd have had a different story about who would be president right now. So don't blame Bernie Sanders supporters. Don't you ever blame a voter. Blame the people who run in that party. Nico House and Jared, I forgot his name. Nico and Jared and all them guys went and and a bunch of you took a lot of people, took the DNC to court, and they basically admitted in court, we can do whatever we want to. We're a private organization. We run this however we want to run this. Forget the people. Now, why am I getting to this? Well, I'm setting this up right now because we don't know that the Democratic Party is not going to cheat that man again. Sure, they don't have super delegates, but they have interpolling, conning polling, con artist polling. They'll tell you somebody is winning over Trump, but they don't tell you the other person is winning over Trump too in a bigger margin and more polls. But we're going to look at this. Now I want to go and look at something. Give me a moment. Let me pull it up. All right. Now, this is the 2000 election between Al Gore, Ralph Nader of the Green Party, and George Bush. Now, I've been through this before. Al Gore had more votes than George Bush, but there was a problem. Number one, popularity vote do not win elections, on the electoral votes. And Bush sweep the Rust Belt. He who wins the Rust Belt will win the election. Yeah, but Ralph Nader took or stole, he robbed or he snatched 2,882,000 votes from Al Gore. Fool, that's not how it goes. Nobody owes you their vote. So how you gonna say Nader stole votes from Gore or Nader stole vote from Bush? Matter of fact, if it wasn't for Nader, Bush would have beat Gore even more. If you want to say anything, Nader stole votes from Bush, not Gore. Had Bush had 2,882,000 of Nader vote, and you add it up with his vote, he would have won the popular vote as well as the electoral vote. But because of Nader had 2,882,000 votes. Nader earned those votes. He campaigned for those votes. Most of those votes come from the Green Party. Some of them came from the Independent Party, and maybe some came from the Dems, and some came from the Republicans, because nobody wanted boring, lame Al Gore. He was not Bill Clinton. But yet he tried to tout himself as the extension of Bill Clinton, just like Hillary Clinton tried to tout herself as the extension of Obama. Don't nobody buy into that extension stuff. People don't run. Look, people will always say they're an extension of somebody, especially when the years are good. But believe me, when they get in office, they ain't trying to extend nobody else's legacy. They're trying to build their own legacy. Don't fall for the okie doke. Al Gore was not an extension of Bill Clinton. Now, let's get back to Nader vote. If you ever seen Nader campaign, it's kind of similar to Bernie Sanders' campaign, packing out stadiums. That's how he got 2 million votes. Now, according to this, there's 1 million votes that's in the other category. Could have been libertarians. It could have been write-ins, or what else. But the reason the Democratic Party did not win in 2000 is because, number one, Al Gore quit too early before the count. But if you look at the electoral map, Bush had most of the electoral map. And Nader did an awesome job. And I like Ralph Nader. If it wasn't for Ralph Nader, we wouldn't be loving a lot of things. Ralph Nader the one helped us get the seat belts. He was a consumer protection advocate. Ralph Nader is a great American citizen that has done things for the American people. Saved a lot of American lives. Bush, on the other hand, white supremacist to the core. Gore, on the other hand, white supremacist to the core. Now, I could say a lot about Nader, but Nader policies were pretty much, he did have a plan, a black agenda, and he did have a plan for reparations. Green Party always went that way. It got stronger when it came to Jill Stein. Now I want you to see this big green part right here. This is the part that matters, and I have to tell my buddy this and anybody else this. Now pretend this is the primaries, and you got Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Buttigieg, and all that. And you got the black vote. Black votes is this half of the pie. Whoever caters to the black vote would cater to them. Whoever comes with some reparations and a first phase is form a check, and whoever can come up with a real black agenda, not one that you came up with out your behind, because everybody got, oh, we're going to do this for black people. Kamala Harris got the old student, the loan, home loan. It only helps a certain black people. Majority of black people ain't going to be able to do that. That's really going to white elites who got money. Don't fall for the okie doke. I'm going to go in that one day. Everybody claim to have something to lift up the black community. We don't need a lift. We need a launch, especially ADOS. And if you want that black vote, you better go get it. Because it ain't coming to you by default. And I know I'm losing some supporters. I don't care. Drop me like a hot potato, Doc. I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth. In this election, black Americans, foundational black Americans, are going to do something that's going to ultimately help the rest of the black Americans, either immigrant black Americans or non-immigrant black Americans. We're going to do something that's going to take care of the black community. And we're not waiting on nobody to join us in this. We're not waiting on nobody's approval. And we're not waiting on Congress or no president to give us the thumbs up. We're telling you right now, if you want the black vote, there's certain things that you got to do, but you got to come to us and let us tell you. You don't come up it, you don't pull it out your behind. We tell you. He who do that will win the election, will win the primaries. Now, in the primaries, it's a whole, I mean, in the general, it's a different story. Sure, the black vote is very powerful. But one voting block that trumps the black vote is the independent vote. Now, that's that dark green, hunter green area over here. That could be, it's say people who didn't vote. That's huge. Because right now, in the primaries, ADOS said we ain't voting. No black agenda, no vote. No tangibles, no vote. You can put Trump all in our face all we want. You ain't getting our vote unless you come to us and give us some concession. Come talk to us. Let us tell you what the black community need, and you go out there and advocate for that, or you ain't getting no vote. Yeah, they're holding it hostage. The election is being held as a hostage, whether you like it or not. Black people are saying, until you take care of our community, until you spend time with us, until you sit and have a summit with us, some kind of talk forum or whatever, and let us tell you the most pressing needs of the black community, and you put it on paper and you build policy and advocate for that, you can kiss our vote goodbye. And to me, that is smart strategy. That's what Dr. King did. So what's the difference? Dr. King did not give, until you pass civil rights legislation, you forget about the black vote. You need us if you want to win, bruh. And if you want to win, you better come up with some civil rights legislation before you get elected. Because right now, you're the POTUS, you're the president, Johnson. Now, we've been working on this thing a while, but if you want to win again, you need, and let me tell you something. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a white supremacist racist to the core, but yet Dr. King did pull that same thing. He said, look, not only are we holding the black vote, see the Muslims, black Muslims already said, bruh, we ain't voting Republican or Democratic. Both of them are two of the same bird with two different wings on the same bird. Two-headed snake. Both of them are you got a fox and a wolf. Both of them are dangerous. Malcolm X said that. So you wouldn't depend on them for support. And the people who follow great leaders like Marcus Garvey and all that, they was pushing behind Dr. King. So in the general election, and we're not there yet. That's why I'm telling you. You better talk to your politician. Tell them they better jump for this vote. They better give it up. They better come talk to us. They better come to our community. Bernie Sanders need to come to the black community. Now I have a meeting with Killer Mike and Nina Turner and all them. No, you come to the black community and talk to real deal black. I'm not talking about these crooked preachers out here. I'm talking about preachers who are out there on the ground, black preachers who know who open up pantries to feed the black, the underprivileged blacks, who have schools in the church, after school programs and things like that, doing what they can to lift up the black community. Meet with them, and I'm not talking about political leaders who happen to be clergy. I'm talking about get down to the grassroots and talk to real deal preachers right around the corner from me. Talk to real deal black leaders right around the corner from me that's running nonprofits, that's being financed from the community. Get with them and find out what the black community need, and you go advocate for it, or you ain't getting no black vote. I know that's hard to hear, and I know that scares you, and I know you figure your favorite, my favorite politician ain't gonna win if y'all do this. Who you think we more worried about, your favorite politician winning or the survival of the black race, especially American descendants of slaves? Because this is a survival issue. If you take time and do your study, it's a survival issue. Now, let's say the black vote does what it always does. Get the Democratic, let's say Joe Biden win the nomination. Nah, he ain't winning. Now, before we go there, I want to show you something. My buddy, Gerald, my homeboy, I told him what I thought was the truth. I told him that any blue will not do. Voting for any blue on the ballot is dumb because you don't know who you're voting for. Slut voting. I hate slut voters. I hate people who vote for people who they have no clue who they are. That's how you get these numbnuts in the Republican Party. Now, we're going to look at some election polling. I'm going to see if I can get a better view of these pollings. Let me see. Go to national polls. Now what we're going to do is look at winning. Now Bernie Sanders is a machine. You got to give it to him. But he need to understand being a machine is not going to lock the black vote. And you can be a machine. You're going to come to your voting is not going to be as potent. You're not going to win in a landslide without the black vote. You're just not. I don't care how strong your campaign is. I don't care about your policies, even though he got great policies. He has a strong campaign. He has a strong volunteer base. He has a strong monetary base. But when it comes to voting day, you're going to need the black vote in order to win. Now let's look at something, because all you hear right now is how Biden leading the polls. And he's leading in some polls. Biden leading in the polls does not interest me more than who can actually win the general election. Because you can lead in the polls, you can actually win the nomination, but if you have no juice going into the general election, Trump is going to win. And it ain't going to be the black vote that caused Trump to win. It's going to be the independent vote that caused Trump to win. Now let's look at some nomination information over here. All right. These are some polls. Now, Biden has been slipping in a lot of these polls. Some of these polls go back to May. Okay. You go all the way over here to 429 and 55. Biden was leading with 40 points, and Bernie Sanders only had 19. That's in the Political Morning Consult poll. In the Hill, 46-14. Emerson, 33-25. Biden was leading. Now let's go up here to July. The Hill poll. Biden dropped down to 29. 29 when he came in at 46. He's dropping. He's dropping like he's hot. 25, Bernie Sanders 12, Warren 16. Politico 33, 18, 14. Economist and YouGov 25, 13, 18. Fox News 35, 15, 12. Politico 38, 33, 18, 13. Quinnipiac, and I can't stand Quinnipiac, 34, 11, Warren 15. Hill 34, 20, 12, Warren's dropping. Emerson 33, 20, 14. Now, what you see here is Bernie Sanders is maintaining between 15 and 20. 15 and 20. Now, let's go to another poll. So he's stable. In other words, he's in good position. He's not dropping. He's not having a big increase. That's what you need at the beginning. Now, here we go again. Biden still leading at 30s, in the 30s. But remember, he dropped from 40s. Sanders is bumped up to 20s, and Emerson in the Hill. Warren is starting to get a loss. Harris is losing. Buttigieg is losing. Now, let's go to the general election. Now, here's the general election poll. Trump versus Biden. Biden 51, Trump 49. Biden went up 2 points, which means he was losing a little bit. He was neck and neck with Trump. Yet that same poll got Sanders 51 and 49. Emerson. They got Warren 50-50. That's a tie against Trump. Now, I can't tell you, Warren cannot handle Trump. Biden can't handle Trump. He couldn't even handle Kamala Harris. Harris lose to Trump 48-52. Buttigieg lose to Trump 48-52. But Biden and Sanders is maintaining with a lead over Trump in the Emerson poll. Let's go to Fox poll. Fox poll got Trump versus Biden, 49% Biden, 39% Trump. Trump versus Sanders, 46-40. Fox. Now let's go to Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac, you know me, how I feel about Quinnipiac. Biden 50, Trump 42. Quinnipiac 46, Trump Warren. Got Trump over Sanders. Remusens. It got Trump over Castro. NBC News, Biden 51-42, Warren 48-43, Sanders 50-43. Now, I'm showing you these because, of course, they got Biden leading against Trump, but they don't tell you about Sanders leading against Trump, too. Sanders is leading in about 23 polls. Biden is not leading in that many polls. I could go through this and go on and on and on. So, in the general election, only two people are seen as defeating Trump: Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Now, here's the difference. And this is where the rubber meets road, and this is why I got this chart up. In reality, because all they doing is calling people, and people just letting you know their opinion of the people and who they probably vote for. Here's the real deal. First of all, you got to understand that when it comes to the general election, popularity vote don't mean nothing. Right now, Trump popularity has increased. Joe popularity has gone down. Bernie Sanders popularity continue to increase. I know you guys don't like that, some of you guys. Some of you guys love it. I'm always going to tell you the truth. Popularity is good. But popularity don't win you the election. It's where you're popular at that wins you the election. See, Hillary Clinton won the popular election by 3 million votes, but yet she lost. Why? Because we have an electoral college that determines who wins the election. She wasn't popular in most of the states. Trump was more popular in most of the states. Whether you can holler, rush, and all that, screw that, throw that crap out the window. The bottom line is Hillary Clinton was not winning the Rust Belt because her husband decimated the Rust Belt with that policy known as NAFTA and CAFTA. She didn't take the time to do an apology tour. She didn't even take the time to say, I'm sorry, I'm going to come up with a contract with America to revitalize the Rust Belt. She didn't do none of that stuff. Matter of fact, she was too ashamed to even go there. Matter of fact, she sent proxies over there, hoping that the proxies are going to get her to vote there. That is how naive Hillary Clinton was, how much of a sorry politician she was when it comes to running or winning an election. But she won in New York. Look, my frog could have won. I can go out there and get a frog and have him run for office, to put the WB on him, and he would have won over there in Westchester County. She had no competition in Westchester County. There was no match for a Clinton name in Westchester County. Right now, if Chelsea decided to run, she'll win in Westchester County because there ain't nobody running nothing in Westchester County. Well, she was a Secretary of State. She was Secretary of State because Obama made her Secretary of State. That don't mean nothing. She was a sorry politician, and she let a dumb nunnut like Trump beat her at her own game. Beat her. Yet the man who should have run that election, if they wouldn't have cheated, he was able to not only get a bunch of brand new people to register to vote and vote in this election. Not only did he have the power to drive the vote out, get the vote out, but he had the power to get some. The Green Party was already co-signing with him. Jill Stein gave him her support. He already had 43% of the Democrats on his side. And he even was shaving off some Republicans. He who can do that in this election will be able to win the general. He who does that in any election can win the general. Joe Biden is not going to inspire brand new people to get out there and vote. I don't care how much you try to scare people with Trump. Joe Biden ain't doing that. Kamala Harris ain't doing that. Buttigieg ain't doing that. Beto O'Rourke ain't doing that. Warren ain't doing that. That's what I'm saying. You guys got to get out of these pollings and understand the grassroots and where the energy lies. The energy lies in the Bernie Sanders camp. That's why I'm saying right now in the primaries, it may not be a Bernie Sanders camp if Bernie Sanders don't come up with some kind of black agenda and don't meet with the black community and meet with the experts on reparations and get with them, shut his mouth up, talking about what he support, and go support what we support. Go support what we support. Nobody cares about what you support. That ain't going to get us on your side, and that's not going to get us to say, wow, he support the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 rule or whatever. Wow, thank you, Senator Sanders. Thank you. We're going to support you. Nah, Doc, that ain't doing it. You can get Killer Mike on one side as your partner in crime, and you get Nina Turner. I like both of them. Don't get me wrong. There ain't going to be enough, Doc. I'm telling Killer Mike and I'm telling Nina Turner that they need to grab him by the ear and go and meet with ADOS, or go meet with Dr. Claus Anderson, go meet with Sandra Darity, go meet with the experts on this thing. Go meet with the community and find out from them, that's the key word, find out from them their most pressing need and advocate for that. You don't come up with it. Who in the world, look, how can a white Jewish elderly man tell black people what they need? Same thing with Joe Biden. How can a white elderly white supremacist, low-key white supremacist, how can you go and say you know what black people need? Even Kamala Harris, she grew up as an East Indian woman. She never supported her. She never grew up, she never known her Jamaican side of the family. She known her Indian side. She didn't grow up as a black girl, even though she got some black blood. She grew up as an East Indian, a Bali. Her mom is from East India. And the elite East Indian at that, the bougie kind. Her mom was a professor doing cancer research. They didn't grow up broke. They didn't grow up worrying about when the light's gonna get paid, light bill gonna get paid. They didn't grow up with a lack of health care. Her mom was a professor at a university. She had health care. They don't know what it's like to be on food stamps. So she don't know. Not saying that that is the black experience, but too many black people grew up with that experience because the system has been against us prospering. And whenever we did prosper, the white supremacist system had a way of crushing the prosperity of black people. So she don't understand that. Buttigieg, he definitely don't understand that. What can a white gay man with a white husband, and hey, y'all do your own thing. I mean, look, you live your own life. I got mine. But how can a white gay man tell a black person what they need? One thing I respect about Marion Wilson, she will at least go to black leaders and listen to them. She's coming to the ADIOS conference. I haven't heard a confirmation from Bernie Sanders about going. I haven't heard a confirmation about Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, none of them. But they went to the NAACP. They kissed Al Sharpton behind at the National Action Network. Kissed the ring, hoping to get the black vote. When Al Sharpton don't speak for all black people, and the NAACP don't speak for all black people. You know who speak for all black people? All black people. That's why I said you need to get your boys, or whoever your favorite politician running in the Democratic election, you need to grab them by the hand and say, listen here, if you want to secure that black vote, you better go spend some time with the black community, hear their needs, and advocate for it. We haven't been getting that. We haven't been getting that in an election in a long time. We haven't even got that from Barack Obama. Maybe because Barack Obama wasn't raised as a black boy. I know it shocked you, but Barack Obama's dad was Kenyan, blacker than black, black as night. But he never grew up as a Kenyan in America. He grew up with his white parents, his white grandparents. First in Honolulu, visited his grandmother in Kansas, his white grandma, his white granddaddy. His mom married somebody in Malaysia, so he went far east and was raised there. Now, the closest thing Barack Obama got to the black experience was when he went to Columbia University up here. 9 times out of 10, he ain't hanging out in Harlem. So the most he ever got to the black experience was as a community organizer in Chicago. So that's the closest that he got to hearing the needs of the black community. Yet when he became president, if he heard the black needs, he let it go out one ear, because he did not cater toward the needs of black people. He catered to the LGBT community. Oh yeah, he hooked up the gays. Yeah, he hooked them up, gave them all kind of rights. He hooked up the Latino community, Hispanics. Went all out. Went as far as he can go. But what about black people? I'm trying to tell you some things that if it don't take place, and if you don't work on it now, Trump will win. Now, going back to Bernie Sanders, and why you Bernie Sanders people, if you want Bernie Sanders to be president, you better go pull his ear. Because some of you getting mad up here because I'm not voicing support to anybody. You know why? Because those same people on that platform at the debate stage did not voice their support for us except Marianne Williamson. And she didn't even go far enough.
Thank you, Congressman Rourke. Speaking of reparations, Ms. Williamson, many of your opponents support a commission to study the issue of reparations for slavery. But you are calling for up to $500 billion in financial assistance. What makes you qualified to determine how much is owed in reparations?
Well, first of all, it's not $500 billion in financial assistance. It's $500 billion, $200 to $500 billion, payment of a debt that is owed. That is what reparations is. We need some deep truth-telling when it comes. We don't need another commission to look at evidence. I appreciate what Congressman O'Rourke has said. It is time for us to simply realize that this country will not heal. All that a country is a collection of people. People heal when there's some deep truth-telling. We need to recognize that when it comes to the economic gap between blacks and whites in America, it does come from a great injustice that has never been dealt with. That great injustice has had to do with the fact that there was 250 years of slavery, followed by another 100 years of domestic terrorism. What makes me qualified to say $200 to $500 billion? I'll tell you what makes me qualified. If you did the math of the 40 acres and a mule, given that there was 4 to 5 million slaves at the end of the Civil War, there were 4 to 5, and they were all promised 40 acres and a mule for every family of 4. If you did the math today, it would be trillions of dollars. And I believe that anything less than $100 billion is an insult, and I believe that $200 to $500 billion is politically feasible today because so many Americans realize there is an injustice that continues to form a toxicity underneath the surface, an emotional turbulence that only reparations.
Thank you very much. Senator Sanders.
And she probably couldn't because of lack of time. The moment you start talking about reparation and repent for your sins of enslaving black people and brutalizing them in America, the moment you start talking like that, they're going to shut you up real quick. We don't want to hear that. Shut her up. And of all people that did that last time, Kamala Harris shut her down. The so-called black woman shut the white lady down for talking reparations. And she didn't even talk it. She talked about everything but reparations and a black agenda. Now I want you to look at that green. Let's go back to this and I'm almost done. There's only one man in this election that could pull off a little bit of Republican. They could probably get some greens on his side. That already got half the Democratic base, if not, he got enough. And got independents on his side. And that can encourage people to go out there and vote in the general. He's the only one can drum up the base to get the vote out. Not Cory Booker, not Hickenlooper, not Amy Klobuchar, whatever her name, Clam Chowder, whatever her name. They ain't got it. Joe Biden ain't got it. Kamala Harris ain't got it. Only one person has the ability to get new people engaged in the electoral process. And he who can do that will win the election. In 2000, there was over 100 million Americans that did not vote. Why? Because they saw the two choices we had to vote from. I'm not voting for neither one of these racist people. I'm not voting for these pieces of crap. They're pieces of crap. I'm not voting for Gore. I'm not voting for Bush. Some of them say, man, I'm voting for Nader, and that's how Nader got 2,000. He earned it. But a lot of people, man, 100 million people did not vote. Is that the people who didn't vote fault? Is that the people who voted for Nader fault? Is that the people who voted for Bush? Let's go fast forward. Is that the people who didn't vote in 2016 fault? Is that the independents' fault? Is that the fault of the 13 million people that left the Democratic Party fault? Is that Jill Stein's fault? No. That's the fault of the person running for office. If you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a plan to win, and you don't win, don't you dare fault the voters, fault your doggone self. Hillary Clinton went on a blame tour. She blamed it on everything, including the rain. Oh, she went on it, it's not my fault. I thought she was mystical. I thought her and Mystical were going to come out with the remix of It's Not My Fault. blaming everybody. It was the Russians. It was Bernie Sanders. He didn't encourage his supporters to support it. That's not his job to encourage his supporters to support you. It's your job to get out the vote. It's your job to drum up the base. And let me tell you something. Trump is going to do that. He's doing it early with his racist remarks. See, the racist, numbnut, white supremacists, they ready to vote for him again. These white, right-wing Christian extremist women, they ready to vote for him again. Those men, they ready to vote for him again. And if the Democrats don't get their act together, they gonna lose. And again, don't you dare blame the voter. Blame yourself. I know you hate me. I know you don't like what I said. I know I'm probably going to lose 50 subscribers right now. Hey, what can I say? I'm always going to give you what I believe is the truth. And here's the raw, naked truth. We are in the primaries. Joe Biden is not the only one defeating Trump. Just like in 2016, Bernie Sanders is defeating Trump. Even though you can get a black agenda, and I'm telling these politicians, you better meet with the black community, hear their needs, advocate for it in the agenda, in our policies, including reparations with a check. Don't you dare exclude that. Even though they may win the primaries, they still have to work hard to get that vote in the general. They're going to have to do whatever they can to get the non-voters out. They get the non-voters registered. Well, once you're in the general, you don't have to register. You can go vote. As long as you register to vote, you don't have to register as a Democrat. You don't have to register as a Republican, not in the general. That's why I'm telling you guys on your own. Don't expect me to vote Democrat this year. Until I see a Democrat take on a black agenda from the black community, not made it on their own, until I see that, until I see them get a plan for reparation with a check extent as the first phase, until I see a policy like that, and it's my vote, you kiss my behind, you don't tell me what I do with my vote is mine, I treat it as a commodity. If you want to be a slut voter and just sling your vote out there like a girl slinging her behind in the club, if you want to do that, you do that. Don't tell me to do that. And I will push back on you and get in your face over that, and I don't care what you got to say about it. My vote is my vote. You worry about your vote, and you worry about getting out there and get out the vote of other people. But this vote, I know what my community need. And if none of these people are addressing the needs of my community, none of them addressed it on that stage tonight. And like I said, Marianne Wilson was the only one to address that issue, and she has a long shot. But me, I'm always for the underdog. If that underdog support me in the things that I believe for, in the things I advocate for in my community, I'm going to support that underdog. I don't care if they got a chance of winning or not. I will always do that. It's about a quality vote. It's not about just giving my vote to anybody. Any blue would do. Any blue won't do. You know why? Because I just showed you any blue ain't going to win in the general. Any blue can't get independents. Any blue cannot drum up brand new voters to go out and vote. Any blue is not going to shave off some Republicans, and any blue is not going to try to convince the other Democrats to join. Anybody ain't going to do that. Honestly speaking, only one person going to be able to do that. So even though the polls are showing Joe Biden is winning over Trump and Bernie is winning over, the fact of the matter is, when it comes to game day, Biden ain't getting independence. Biden ain't motivating people to get out to vote, because he's not that guy. He's not Obama. He's not. Biden done lost black support because of his racist policies and his racist ideology and his racist buddies. He's pretty much losing the black vote. The only person that has that power is Bernie Sanders to go out there and win that demographic. But if he don't come on board, he may not make it to the general. I know it's tough. It's tough. I know you guys mad at me. Just gotta be mad at me, man. I don't care, and I know the comments gonna come. Look, you can take your upset attitude, your upset at me attitude, you can turn that some sideways and stick it up your behind. I don't care. I'm gonna always tell you the truth. I'm pissing off ADOS people and I'm pissing off Bernie Sanders supporters. I don't care. I don't care. The fact of the matter, the strongest candidate in the Democratic Party right now that can really defeat Trump is Bernie Sanders, not Joe Biden. It's not Kamala Harris. And much as I like Marion Wilson, it's not Marion Wilson. But if Marion Wilson advocate for our needs, we have no choice but to support the one who advocate our needs, whether she can win or not. But if you want people who can go out there and win, drum up the base and get new people to go out and vote, if you want us to support that person who can go out there and get half the Democratic support, if you want us to support that person who has the ability to shave off Republican votes and really have the ability to defeat Trump, if you want us to support that candidate, you tell that candidate to support us. And one of the ways he can support us and stop coming up with his ways, his ideas, and telling us what he support, and come talk to us and let us tell you what has to happen to get our vote. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it should be. I'm telling you. I know you're mad. But that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Your any blue slut voting is not going to win a general election. I'm telling you, you do this any blue voting, Trump will win. You better be smart and precise with your voting. You better be very intellectual with your voting. And some of you actually think you're being intellectual with your voting just by throwing out your support this early in the race. Now, some of you are. You found your candidate, great. Me? I pretty much know who I can support, but he ain't getting my vote that easy. Bro, you want this vote? Come talk to me. Come talk to my people and let us tell you what we need in order for you to secure our vote. I need something. I need something. My pastor said, when you're getting ready to marry a woman, you better bring something to the table, Doc. You don't want to live off her. You bring something to the table. I don't care if it's just a car. Bring something to the table. A car and a job. Bring something. Don't come up there saying, I'm going to drive your car, I'm going to eat your food, and all I can bring is love. That ain't working no more, Doc. You better bring something tangible to the table before you marry her. Insurance policy with her name on it, a car that's paid for, and a job. Some women will take that over pretty looks, abs, and nothing. Same way in this election. You want to marry the black community and you want to get their vote, you better come with something to the table. Don't be asking for something and you're not planning on giving us what we want in return. Bring something to the table. And the thing we're looking for at the table is tangibles. You want to know what those tangibles are? Come holler at us. Until then, you can forget about it when it comes to the black vote. I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. I'll at you later. Hey, this is Robert Brown with the Rob Report. I want to thank you for watching this particular segment of the Rob Report. Now, before you go, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share this particular video. Hit the notification bell. That way you can be alerted whenever we get a new video done and uploaded. Whoop, there it is. But I do try to offer programs available to you that will save you money. So when you get a chance, go to the EJ for All, E, letter J, number 4, all.com, and get educated on one of the most powerful legal protection programs on the face of this planet. everybody at least need to know about this phenomenal program. I've been a member for 10 years and it got me out of a lot of situations, saved me a ton of money. And then also, I have a new streaming service available. It's called IXQ TV for $39 a month. You get access to over 6,000 high-quality HD channels, premium channels, you name it, movie channels, sports channel, the best sport packages around. If you're international from another country, you get access to the channels back home. You name it, kids, entertainment, you name it, it's available for you. So go to DominionIXQTV.com, DominionIXQTV.com, and hey, go ahead and put your information in there and get the free trial. Yep, we'll send you a free trial, let you try it out, and I'm telling you, you will love it. And we have a refer for, pay no more ever. As long as you got those 4 people using the service, you never have to pay a cable bill another day in your life. And all those people who support either of those 2 services, I'm going to make sure you have access to the Patreon channel for free. All right, well, I'm Robert Brown with the Rob Report. Holla at you later. Peace.